this week's edition of BS with AJ. This week we're going to be talking about changing a toggle switch or light switch, whichever you prefer to call it. And this is the first live video I've ever done, so I apologize if I'm stumbling across what I'm saying. Normally I can edit through all that, so it's not a big deal. Now light switches, eventually they do go out. Like, I live in an old house and I've had to change a few of them now because they just got wore out. And it's not really that big a deal. If you've never done it before, not a big deal at all. It doesn't take all that long to do it. You don't have to be an expert to do anything. Pretty simple. So let's get into it by showing you the tools you're going to need first. Alright, so here's the tools that I'm going to be using. The first thing you're going to need is I've got a couple screwdrivers, a flathead and a Phillips. The flathead is normally for the cover. Most of them always have a flathead cover on them, but even the new ones do. And the old school ones that I'm changing out, sometimes they do have flathead screws that hold in the wire as well. So you will need one of those, especially if you live in an old house. A Phillips screwdriver is essential because all the new stuff is Phillips, except for putting the screws on the cover, of course. The next thing, you may need some wire strippers depending on the situation when you get in there. You may have to cut a wire, you may have to strip a little more off so you can get the connection better and everything. Next, I recommend having either this here is a voltage tester, which will show you how much power is going to it and all that. But if you only have one of these, you can tell that there is power or there isn't power going to the wires. Or you can get one of these, which is a voltage detector. And that is a weather alert. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, now you can get a voltage detector, which is real. I recommend it for sure. It's basically you turn it on, and it turns green. Whenever you put it up near a voltage, if there's a live wire or something like that, it will turn red, so you'll know for sure that there's power going to it. And if you put it onto it and it doesn't change color or anything, you know there's no power going to it, which is great. You will definitely need a regular toggle switch. And like I said, today we're going to be changing out a normal one. It's not a three-way one or anything like that. It's just a regular light switch, so it's not a big deal to change or anything. I will be using this impact with a Phillips bit in it just to make things go faster. You don't have to have that. That's just that's up to you. I happen to have it, so it makes things go a lot quicker for me, especially doing a video like this where I can't do fast motion and things of that nature. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do, let's get over to the plug that we're going to be changing now. Alright. Here's our plug. I wonder if I can zoom in. Let's see here. Yep, there we go. Cool. Alright, here's the plug that we're going to be changing. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is turn off the power to your plug. You need to go down to your breaker box and figure out which one has the power going to it. So the easiest way to check that is turn your switch on and then have somebody else wait in this room while you go flip the breakers if they're not labeled. Like in my house, they're not. I had to go through and label them myself. But if they are labeled, then there shouldn't be any issue. But I always recommend turning the light switch on so that way the light is on in the room. So whenever you turn off the breaker, you'll come in, there won't be a light. You'll know for sure there's no power going to the switch. Now, it also could be like in my house, a lot of times when I've changed out light fixtures and stuff like that, where they ran other wires to it, so there may be a live wire in the box. And this is why I definitely recommend having a voltage detector before you touch any of the wires. Now, you can try it right now, and sometimes it'll read the wires through here because the wires are so close, the voltage is just going through that. Sometimes it'll read it, sometimes it won't. So the first thing we're going to do after we turn off the power, we're going to take off this cover and make sure there's no power going to it. So let's get our flathead screwdriver here and we'll go ahead and take this loose. I didn't, on the other hand, get another cover for this, so it's still going to have this ugly cover for right now. But that's not a big deal. I'll go get one later on. I forgot to pick it up. Alright, we got our cover off now. Let's go set this out of the way. Alright, so now that our cover's off, we'll turn on our voltage detector and we'll make sure that there's no power going to it. Alright, there's nothing going to it right now. Alright, so we should be good. If you have a voltage meter, or a voltage tester or whatever, all you got to do is take your two wires and connect to the two wires here. This one here doesn't make any noise, but you can sit there and set it on these two wires. I don't know if you can see them through there or not, but you'll see that there's no lights coming on here. If you have one of these, that's the way you could test it. So we'll set these over to the side now that we know there's no power to it. And like I said, I have the impact here with a Phillips bit, so to make this quicker, I'm going to just go ahead and use this to take this out. This is the only part I recommend using an impact for, because you don't want to get those wires too tight. You don't want to break anything in the process of putting on your wires or anything. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and take this out. If you'd like, we can go ahead and check that again, just to make sure there's no power. Doesn't hurt to be 100% sure, because you do not want to get shocked. It won't be fun, I promise you. All right, so there's no power going to these. Awesome. So the first thing we're going to do, turn this thing back off. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and take off all the wires here. Let's see. Can you see that pretty good? Let's readjust you here. Zoom in a little more. Cool. There we go. All right, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and take off these screws here that are holding the wires on here. We'll go ahead and loosen them up. All right, now, this is another reason you may need a flathead. Because the old way to put these wires on, you would wrap it around these screws and then tighten it up on the back side right here, which I don't know if you can see that or not. Tighten that wire up to where it kind of pinches so it won't come off, which is great if you do it the old way. That's no problem. But you may need like I said, you may need a flathead screwdriver to get it loose right here so you can get it off of that screw. And you may fight with it for just a minute. It's not hard to do or anything. Just kind of gotta work with it. Pull that on out of here. All right, those are loose. We'll go ahead and take our ground wire off now. All right, we're gonna need a flathead again to get that loose. All right. As you can see, we have 3 wires coming into here. Get all my tools over here in my pocket now. That way I don't have to keep going back and forth now. As you can see, there are 3 wires coming through here. If you have more than 3 wires going to it, it may be a 3-way switch, and you may need a different setup. This is just a regular toggle switch for just set up for like one light or one room or whatever. There's not 2 switches going to it basically. A 3-way switch, you can have a switch over here and across the room, so you can turn it on and off either way. But this one here is just a regular one, so there's only 3 wires coming in. Okay, so you definitely want to have a ground, and that's going to be the first thing we're going to hook up here. So let's find my screwdriver I just put in my pocket. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll put our ground wire, which is the bare wire here. How well can you see here? It's all right. We got the ground wire here, and we're going to go ahead and hook it to the green screw right here. That's where the ground goes. So go ahead and snap it in here. All right. Now, since we did it the old school way and looped it around like that, just because it's easier, I recommend taking your wire strippers here on the end here. They're like needle nose pliers. And what I'm going to do now is just pinch this together so it doesn't come off the screw. And then we'll go ahead and tighten it up. Let's get it back around here so it's out of the way. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and tighten this screw up here. You want to make sure it's good and snug, but you don't want to tighten it too much. Now, on the other side, you'll see that there's 2 brass screws. Normally when you see brass, that's where your power needs to go to, which would be, most of the time, would be your black wire. Now, with light switches, there's many different ways that you can actually wire them up, but basically all the light switch is going to do is when it's in the on position, once you put these two wires on here, it's going to connect the wires together. So there's going to be voltage going through here. But when it's in the off position, there's not going to be any voltage going through here. So it really doesn't matter if you have a white and a black like I do. It doesn't matter which side you put them on. Because like I said, basically all it's going to do is connect the power together. So there's power running through the switch to your light. So like I said, it doesn't matter if you put the white on top or the white on bottom. Doesn't make a difference. Now on this particular switch here, it's a newer style one. You can either wrap it around the old school way like they've done here on the old one. You can wrap it around the screw, tighten it up, and then tighten your screw down. Or they have these little holes right here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Can I turn the light on? Enable flash. Did that help any? That did not help much. So let's get closer. Let's see, I should have showed you this before, huh? Alright, let's hold it still. Focus, focus. Alright, well you can kind of see, it's probably zoomed in too far. But there are two holes right here and right down here at the bottom here. And basically what you can do is you can cut off these little loops here or straighten them out, whichever you prefer, and stick just the straight wire through here, and you'll see there's two pieces of metal in there that they'll connect. So that's probably what we're going to do, because it'd be a lot easier instead of trying to hook them around here, which, I mean, you can do it either way, I guess. You know what? I may just leave them like they are. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, because these wires aren't all that long anyway. So what we're going to do is make sure that these two wires are unscrewed. Let's zoom out a little bit so I make sure I stay in focus here. Alright, so what we're going to do is make sure these are out all the way, which standard, whenever they come from the package, they should be screwed out all the way. And what you can do here is just wrap this around here, like so, which may come in handy to use a flathead screwdriver. Be careful, don't accidentally stab yourself. It's not fun. I have done it. I promise. Okay, so we've got it on there. And then what we're going to do now is take our needle nose pliers like we did on the ground. If we can get to it, we're going to try and squeeze these together. Alright, so it's looped on there nice and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. Alright, that one's good and snug now. We'll go ahead and do the same thing to the white wire up at the top. Alright, now let's tighten that down with our needle nose pliers here. Alright, it's on there good and tight. And we'll do the same thing. We'll go ahead and tighten this down with our Phillips screwdriver. Alright, we got that good and snug. Now your wiring is done. That's really the hardest part of all of this, really. So then what we're going to do, let's see here. Set you up right here. What we're going to do, you want to make sure that this is set up correctly. As you can see, off is when it's in the down position, and on is in the up position. You can do it the other way around, but when you do that, it's going to say no, basically. Telling you no, that's not the right way. Also, they normally have it labeled like up here at the top. It says top. I'm not sure you can see that or not, but it does, I promise. You can take my word for it. Anyway, so now that we got it all wired up here, what we're going to do is go ahead and push all these wires back in here. And we're going to take these two screws on the side here are what's going to screw it into our metal box back here, or it could be plastic depending on how your house is set up and all that. As you can see, there is a little screw, a little place to put your screw up here at the top and at the bottom. So what we're going to do is go ahead and line those up here, push it in, push them wires in, and we'll get this started by hand. So we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver again. Go ahead and get it started. Now you can do this all the way with your Phillips screwdriver, but if you're doing a lot of these, or if you're like me trying to make a video, you definitely don't want to waste a whole lot of time. So, we're going to go get our impact. And we're going to slowly start tightening this up here. Another thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have this straight, because otherwise it's going to look funny afterwards. So we'll go ahead and straighten this up here as straight as we can get it and tighten it on down. Now you're basically done. We're going to go ahead and put the cover back on. Let's zoom back out of here. Alright, so we're just going to take our cover just like this, put it right over the switch, and it has 2 screws. And these are flathead. Most of the time they are. I don't think I've ever seen one that's been Phillips. I don't really understand that, but, you know, it is what it is. So what we're going to do is, there's 2 holes here in the top and the bottom of your little cover here, and they're going to go into these holes right here, at the top here and the bottom here. Alright? And they should line up fairly easily, so it shouldn't be an issue. So you just take them, screw them into place. Now these covers are not only for decorative reasons to make it look better, but it's also to make sure that the wires aren't exposed. You can't just reach in there and touch them or anything like that, because that would be extremely dangerous, of course. Alright, so you don't want to tighten it too much. You can break these. I have also done that. Alright, now then, I've got all this fixed up. Now this light switch is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and run down to the breaker box, and I'm going to flip the power back to the on position. Alright, so let's back this up so I don't hit the camera as I'm walking out the door. We'll put this in the off position for now. I'll be right back. Now the power is back in the on position. We went ahead and changed it back at the breaker box. So let's go ahead and look at our light here. Make sure. Let's see here. Well, is it going to let me go up that far? Probably not. Let me rotate this camera around here. Again, I've never done this as far as live before. So it's taking a little getting used to. Alright, we're going to go ahead and flip our switch on now. Alright, and you can see it works, which is great. Like I said, this is not a big deal to go ahead and do all this. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and show you around the room. How about that? Because we have this really cool poster here. When we bought the house, it just happened to be here, and we just happened to have a little boy about 11 days ago now. So this is going to be what he grows up and sees. But anyway, he's got the, you know, all that kind of cool stuff. He's got the Marvel, whatever you want to call that, drapes, shades, but I don't know, whatever. Anyway, let's flip this back around to me. Okay, so now that we've got all that done, we got our light back on, we turned the power back on, everything's set up, we got our cover on so nobody can touch the wires. You're good to go. Everything's done, so that's wonderful. Can I turn the flash on here? Enable flash, hey. There we go, cool. Sorry, not used to all this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's project. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Have you ever done electrical work before on your own? That's a question I'd like to ask you. So go ahead and answer down in the comment section down below. Have you ever done it professionally around your house? Is it easy for you? Have you just never done it before and have no idea what you're doing? Are there any particular videos that you would like to see on this? Go ahead and throw all those answers down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer them and put up any kind of videos that I can. Anything that needs to be done around my house, you better believe I'm going to put a video up about it, because I'm here to help you guys. I want to make sure that you guys know how to do everything and do it safely for sure. That's the main thing, to make sure it's all done safely. So make sure that you get yourself a voltage detector or something like that to make sure there's no power going to anything you're going to be doing that's electrical, because that is extremely dangerous. I don't want any of you guys getting electrocuted. That would be really, really bad. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this week's project. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be posting back on my regular days on Sunday mornings here probably next week. It's been a little hectic here lately. We just had a little boy, like I said, about 11 days ago. We're getting used to that. We're first-time parents, so we have no idea what's going on, what we're doing yet. We're learning, and it's hard to keep up with doing, the videos I'm doing here, working my day job, and all that stuff. But we're going to get it back on schedule here real quick. And be sure to come back next week and see our next video. It's probably going to be installing some lights, I think, if I can find some time to actually edit these videos in the meantime. I've got some other really cool projects coming up. I did see a really cool video on the King of Random where he made a flamethrower, and I really want to try that. So that may be a video coming up here pretty soon too. Anyway, like I said before, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Consider supporting BS with AJ on Patreon. I'm going to go ahead and put all the links to all my stuff, Facebook and Patreon and stuff, down in the description below. I'll put some links to where you can buy these tools that I'm using if you don't own any of them on Amazon. Just so you know, I'm not being sponsored by Amazon or anything like that. I do make a little bit of commission off it if you buy them through me. So that does help me out, because I do need to make a little money to help pay for my videos so I can upgrade my equipment and do bigger and better projects to teach you guys more stuff. So until next week, have a good day.